Good morning, everyone. This is Chirag here from Equity Guys. Today we'll be going over the view for the 9th of July. Um, this is the pre-market view. So let's see what happened yesterday. So yesterday we see that, as we said, the view that if S1 was if S1 was respected, we would have a huge rally on the upside, right? And you did see that S1 was supported and was respected here, and R1, was broken, and then we did see a huge rally on the upside, but it was a good amount of consolidation yesterday, range boundness. So what we can say that is that the rally might continue today, but let's see what the data is saying. So the gap between Nifty and Nifty futures is at about 102 points, which is looking more bullish for the data side. Again, Bank Nifty and Bank Nifty futures there also. Futures is trading at around 103 points premium, which is again a bullish sign for us. VIX India or India VIX is looking more towards the bullish side because it is down minus 2.87%. So that basically correlates more towards the bullish side there. Um, Looking at crude oil right now is trading at 5883 levels, which is it is about 1.5% higher, but I don't think that should be affecting the Indian markets today in a negative way. But let's see, that would be a minor thing there. Moving on towards Nifty Bs and Bank Bs, both Nifty Bs and Bank Bs are up due to the huge spike yesterday, and towards the end of the market, and the gold Bs and silver Bs are also up by almost 0.3% and 0.3% respectively, right? Um, Moving on, Gift Nifty is showing a little bit of gap down, just 35 points lower, but I think that should still leave us with a neutral open today, right? And yeah, look, that is covering all the data in the Indian market here today. So moving over to the sectoral indices here, we see that we see majority buying in the sectoral indices here, and you have banking with a good amount of buying here. IT also has a good amount of buying, and you see oil and gas also with a good amount of buying here, right? So overall, we see a good amount of buying in all the key sectors here, which is a good sign for the Indian markets. So moving over to the advances and decline ratio, the data is, I would say, fairly neutral here with advances and declines, leaning a little bit more to the bearish side here, just because the declines are 1561 here. But I would say that this is still, I would consider this a little bit neutral, but and it should not make much of an impact here. I think this might change over the day as a little bit more buying can be seen throughout the day, right? And moving on to FIDI activity, this is a very important one. If we look at the FII activity in the cash market, they're selling a small amount, a very nominal amount here, which is around 26 crores here, and you have good amount of buying in the cash market from the DIS, which is a good sign. They're matching whatever. In fact, they're going over whatever the FIIs are selling here. Moving on to the FNO segment, right? The FIIs are selling both in index options and in index futures, but in index futures, you see it's a very nominal amount of selling here. But if the FIIs kick in, then you can see bigger rallies and you can see stronger rallies throughout the day, right? And even in stock futures, you see quite a bit of selling here. But this is the one concern about the FIIs in the market. Once they start buying, you start seeing bigger moves, bigger uptrends. Even the rally yesterday would have been much bigger if the FIIs were also in on the buying, right? So moving over to the advanced decline ratio here, we see in Nifty it is slightly positive and Bank Nifty it's completely neutral. And in Nifty, the slightly positive areas, you see chemicals, power and aviation sectors, really taking the front there. So it's slightly positive, yes, but if the banking sector and the IT sector and the automobile sector come around a little bit more there, I think we can see, although you see here that the banks are slightly positive, IT is also slightly positive here. Those are good signs for it to start coming up. And once those come up, we can start seeing a bigger rally there. So, moving on to the option chain. Now, in the option chain, we see that yes, the calls being on the left hand side and the puts being on the right hand side. We see that in this segment here, which is in the money, we see that there's a good amount of buying from the from the people, and especially we see that there's a lot of positive buying there in the money, although there is selling in out of the money calls, which is here, and you see that there is selling in out of the money puts here and in the money puts here. But overall the data is positive, leaning towards the bullish side, and I don't think we should be having a problem there. Moving on to the global markets, we see that Dow Jones did close negative. That is there, but then we did see S&P 500 and Nasdaq both close neutral, and Nasdaq was very slightly positive there. So on fairly, I would say neutral on the US front, with Dow Jones as being a little negative here, which is overall pretty okay for us. Europe closed positive for us, which is amazing. Or that will really help us also today. And if we look at the Asian markets here, especially looking at Nikkei is already up a little bit, fairly neutral I would say, but still they're on the upper side, which is great. Shanghai is also up, with China and Hang Seng also being up 1%, which is amazing, right? And then moving on to the ADRs here in Infosys, you see here we see a lot of big companies like Infosys, Wipro, ICICI Bank, HDFC, all of them seeing a good amount of buying. I mean, a good amount of buying here, but also not very great, but still a good amount of buying here, which will be good for today's market, as it will help us move forward in the overall day, right? And yeah, moving back to this, let's see the supports and resistances for today. So the support and resistances, again, the first support and resistance is the day high and the day low, right? So you see the day high and day low will act as support and resistances. And then we have S2 here, which was from the 7th of July, and we have S2 here again, which is on the 3rd of July there. So our basically the view is, if it should break S1 today. Once it breaks S1, you see you can go towards S2. S2, you might see some level of support. I mean, it's the resistance there, because S2 is a very important resistance at 25, 580 levels, 590 levels there. You can see a little bit of bounce back from there, but overall, I feel like we should also be breaking that, and we should be moving higher and higher today, which is the overall view. If you also see in the day time frame, 1 minute. Yeah. If you also see in the day time frame, last week we did see a lot of selling. We did see a hammer and then a doji. The doji low was respected, and then the doji high was broken. So that is just another confirmation for the uptrend. So the hammer and the doji, both of the highs being broken on the upside, is a very positive thing that we can see for the Indian markets, and that will really help the markets move higher and higher. So overall, the view for today should be that it should be on the positive side. It should be a buy on dip view and a long position. But again, please guys, trade your setup. Please trade your setup. Please trade on a single time frame. please trade on the same index. Make sure you're making smart trades. Don't have your FOMO trades. Don't trade emotionally. And overall, please like, share, and subscribe, guys. Hope you found the video really helpful. And please contact Equity Guys if you're interested in for more information about Equity Guys. Please contact us. Yeah. Thank you so much. Have a great trading day.